1. What is up, you guys? It is episode 44 of the Sci-Fly Zone, where the multiverse meets a 7th inning stretch. And today's destination is going to be taking us back to the DC universe, as we're going to be reviewing Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 7, the shortest episode of the season so far. But it's going to be made up with a 57-minute long finale. And I am so excited because me and CJ have both been begging for this exact thing, a longer episode for the entire season. It's been way too short. So I'm happy we're finally getting more Peacemaker.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, man. Things are really coming down to the wire. Things are getting very, very intense. Obviously, we know how episode 6 ended, and even if you're not watching Peacemaker, you've probably heard about how episode 6 ended by somebody. And
I guess you could say they did not see it coming.
No, they did not see it coming. But yeah, I mean, the episodes are just getting shorter and shorter. The last 3 episodes have been shorter than the previous one released, and there's only been 2 episodes that have been at 40 minutes or longer out of 7 so far. So a little unfortunate, but I am very glad that we're going to be getting a longer finale because I think it deserves it.
Yeah, me too. Although I do kind of understand why this one was kind of short, because a lot happened and it leaves a lot to be desired, which is, I guess, the feeling you want going into a finale to a degree. Like, you really want to find out what's going on, where this is going to go, because at the end of this episode, dude, it left me wondering where we're going. I don't know.
Yeah, I genuinely have no clue where they're going to go with this show in the finale. And the one thing that we know is that it directly leads into Man of Tomorrow. I don't know how that's going to happen. Still, well, 1 episode away, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we're going to get Lex Luthor again in a scene. Maybe we're just going to get a mention of him like escaping or something, or him in prison. But yeah, dude, there are so many different ways they could go with this.
My theory is, since they're already able to break guys out of very high-level security prisons, like one of Lex Luthor's guys that we'll talk about later in the episode, that helped Argus find Peacemaker's quantum unfolding chamber, I feel like they're going to be able to possibly even relieve Lex Luthor at some point, because he essentially assisted the U.S. government in capturing a vigilante that had very dangerous technology. So they might, want to break him out, or not break him out, but they might want to, give him the benefit of the doubt because he helped the government, and that can be a way how he ties into Man of Tomorrow in a way, because he has more access now and more ability, because he might get a less sentence, or he might go to a better prison, or he might just get outright released because of how successful this mission went.
Yeah, totally. Obviously, now he is working with Rick Flag Sr. and Argus, so he's going to be probably in the good graces of them, at least to a certain extent, He did mention in the last episode, or he asked if he could, if he could be set free, or if he could get a decrease on his sentence, and Rick Flag seemed like at the time that was not going to be a possibility, but I would not be surprised if he continues to try to finagle his way out and keep doing what he has to do to get out of prison.
Yeah, and he also did promise an opportunity for redemption.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
So We'll see what that means. But let's get into the spoilers. We open back up right where we left off in Argus, with Amelia asking Chris if this is his perfect world, which we definitely know it is not his perfect world anymore. Wow, dude, he was so oblivious to the other aspects of this universe. I mean, from the copies of Mein Kampf on all of the desks to the outright mural of Hitler on the wall. It's so bad.
Yeah, not looking good for Chris. We obviously have been trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's kind of been blinded by the praise that he's been given, but you've probably noticed something like that. Like, that's something for you to recognize. But we pick up obviously right where episode 6 left off, probably the biggest cliffhanger of the season so far. So I'm glad we were able to get right back into it, And apparently James Gunn had mentioned that there was actually supposed to be a third beat to this scene. Apparently there were some Argus employees that all had Hitler mustaches shaved on their face, and they were gonna point over to them at one point. And by the way, they weren't fake Hitler mustaches. Those people actually shaved their face for that exact mustache and then had to leave the set for a couple days and go live their life. So, I mean, if that's not commitment, I don't know what is.
Just for the scene to get cut.
Yeah, seriously, God. It's
Dude,
so
but
tough.
that's a real aspect of Hollywood, though. Like, there are a lot of people who like film certain scenes and like do a lot to like make those scenes happen, and then those scenes just get outright cut.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And even like in cases with Vigilante's character, the guy who was originally cast for him shot like 5 episodes of the first season, and they ended up recasting him like during the season to bring in Freddie Stroma, and now he is the new Vigilante. So like Hollywood can be completely brutal at times.
Mm-hmm. Although I gotta say, one of the best recasts of all time.
Yeah,
Freddie
yeah.
Stroma is a treasure.
He's been great. I'm very happy about his character. He's been incredible.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, that is when we can get enough of him on the screen and not just him saying animal facts, which we haven't gotten much of lately, which I'm thankful for.
Yeah, for real. I'm glad we're getting a bit more of him in action, which, wow, his actions definitely have consequences in this episode, which we will get to.
100%.
So they're all being held up, and Peacemaker breaks up with Earth X's Amelia, and she's like, what? It's like, well, that's what I'm about to do. And then they start punching stuff, kicking ass before they run out of the main room into the intro of the show.
Yeah, nice that Chris and Amelia are finally working on the same page.
Yeah, it's awesome, and I'm glad that he's finally choosing like our Amelia, and Amelia is wanting to be chosen by him at the same time. It finally works out.
Yeah. All it took was them going into a dimension run by Nazis to get their relationship back on track, you know?
Yep. Universe works in mysterious ways. Or universes.
Yes, yeah.
So the title of this episode is Like a Keith in the Night, which, like a thief in the night, will steal your episode's runtime. Sorry, I'm mad. I want more. So after the title, we cut back to both Adrians, and Adrian 2 is telling our Adrian how the Sons of Liberty were actually a resistance to the Nazi oppression, which really makes you rethink that whole scene with Peacemaker just single-handedly taking them down one by one. So it kind of sucks that he as well fell into the propaganda of this world and did know that he was actually supporting inadvertently a worldwide oppression that started after the Nazis won World War II in this universe.
Yeah, it makes you like very much recontextualize that whole scene and that episode, and the way that the Sons of Liberty were originally portrayed in that episode to now how we view them now, knowing more context, is like very, very interesting to me. I'm sure Chris, if Chris found out about that as well, he would probably be not very happy about that.
No, definitely. I mean, oh yeah, he doesn't actually know about that yet. Like he doesn't he doesn't know that the Sons of Liberty are like the good guys in this universe. No one's told him yet. Only the vigilantes know.
Yeah, I know he's very oblivious to everything going on, and he's very ignorant to like the circumstances of this society. But when Amelia is pointing these things out to him, and when he is actually noticing it, I mean, the first time he was like, "No, that's stupid. What are you talking about?" But then when she like started pointing more things out, he was like, "Oh, okay, I was wrong. This is actually not so great." And pretty quickly, he switches flips a switch, immediately breaks up with Amelia too, and starts to try to get himself out of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very happy that he flipped very quickly.
Yeah.
And I do think it's funny that Adrian 2 asks if our universe is a utopia since the Americans won World War II in our universe. And his reaction was exactly the same as ours would be, because even though the US did win, Earth X's world does have a lot more similarities than we'd like to admit to ours.
Yeah, 100%. And Leota even has a line where she says like pretty much exactly that.
Yeah. And we also receive confirmation that in this universe, minorities are living in basically concentration camps. And that's probably where Keith was referring to when he said one got out last episode. I mean, just horrifying stuff here.
Yeah. Like absolutely terrible. I mean, we knew that it kind of implied that there are minorities somewhere in this world. We just didn't know where. And unfortunately, it is what we thought it was.
Yeah, and this is also backed up by not only Judo Master saying you really don't want to be anything I am, which, you know, he describes to be gay, Buddhist, a minority. And Vigilante also backs this up by saying if they catch her, as in Leota, when they later find out that she's being chased, he says that they're never going to see her again. So like everybody in this universe is reaffirming the fact that minorities really are just oppressed to the utmost degree.
Yeah, 100%. Which, while we're talking about like recontextualizing scenes from previous episodes, Adrian, I think your dad is still gay. He's just trying to hide it because he would be persecuted if he comes out, you know?
Yeah,
like,
bro has a walk-in closet.
Yes, yeah.
That's
and
how
it
deep
follows
it
him
is.
around. Yeah.
It's really, it's unfortunate. But, you know, I'm glad this show is commenting on a lot of mature themes and a lot of like very sensitive and like hard to talk about and bring up and comment on. So, and I think they did, and like overall, a pretty good job handling everything, you know, like without nitpicking, you know, some plot point stuff, you know, just like more on the commentary itself. They did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I'd say so too. And I like how they're not really like they're not shying away from anything. They're not trying to like beat around the bush or anything. It's like you just have Judo Master being like, yes, I'm gay, I'm Buddhist, I'm Vietnamese. You do not want to be that here. You know, like it is dangerous for me. So like I do appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think they can also get away with it a bit easier because it's a separate universe, you know, so
Yeah.
it's completely separated from our reality entirely. So like the rules can be whatever the writers want it to be, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
So Adrian, without skipping a beat, we got to go save her because, like I said before, if they catch her, you're probably never going to see her again. So they need to go save her. And I like that they both just team up and go and try to find her immediately.
Yeah. I feel like that's something really good about Adrian 2 in particular. Like not even having met her yet, he just knows that she means something to this Adrian, so it has to be important. So he has to help save her.
Yeah. So we cut to Leota. She's running from the crowd, and I heavily underestimated her running abilities, and also I think simultaneously overestimated the neighborhood's ability to run at meaningful speeds because she's somehow keeping her distance. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, she's booking it for sure. She's got the stamina. She like clears a fence pretty easily. Like it was great.
Yeah. And during the chase, Keith gets a call from his dad, and his dad tells him to come home because he has Economos all tied up in the chair after Economos spilled the beans last episode, admitting to everything that involves Peacemaker in this universe. So now Keith is coming home to find out that his real brother is dead.
Yeah, and this is obviously extremely crushing to Keith. He seems like a completely different person for the remainder of this episode. Like something in him just snaps when he sees this, and there's something else later in the episode that'll also make him snap, which we will get to. Yeah.
So Leota's booking it, and she gets cut off by a truck in front of her, so she makes a hard right. And she's, like CJ mentioned, she jumped the fence into a backyard with a pool. And instead of running around the pool, jumps in the pool to swim. And instead of the crowd of people surrounding her around the pool, they follow suit and also jump in to swim. I don't know, maybe they were trying to drown her, I guess, instead of just grabbing her at that point. I mean, they would all feel justified in it, right?
You probably, yeah.
So anyway, Judo Master, the GOAT, he pops up, which confirms that he was not detained by anybody in this universe. He was just hiding out in someone's house that was empty. He was squatting, basically. So he cut a telephone wire in half, and he pulls Leota out just in time and electrocutes everybody in the pool with the telephone wire, killing all 20 members of the neighborhood watch.
Yeah, this was insane. This was crazy. First of all, I'm glad Judo Master's okay. I'm glad he's good. And I'm glad he was there to help out Leota, because we were speculating maybe he would be the one to jump in. Obviously, she needed help. And felt like going for a bit of a dip, just cooling off. It was probably hot outside. She wanted to cool down her body temperature. And originally I was like, okay, why is everybody in the neighborhood just going into the pool as well and getting slower and not just surrounding her and waiting for her to get out? But the more that I thought about it, they were, I mean, the whole time they were basically acting like zombies in a way. They were like running like zombies, they were screaming like zombies, and a zombie would probably not have the capacity to think that far ahead. They would probably just see the food in front of them and try to get it, which is basically what was going on with them.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they saw her, they were just fixated on her and just wanted to get her. I definitely see the parallel there. Which, by the way, guys, we just dropped Marvel Zombies
Ah,
Breakdown, episodes 1 through 4, complete breakdown and review on our channel. If you guys want to watch that, if you're interested in any Marvel content, we have a lot of stuff.
that was a really good segue.
Thank you.
Trust you for that.
Appreciate that. So, Judo Master helps Leota escape. Awesome. And we cut back to Peacemaker and Amelia trying to book it out of Argus, and they're surrounded. So Peacemaker tells Amelia, hold on tight. And he jetpacks off into a wall, through the glass, off the ground a couple of times, slamming back first into an SUV and denting it with the force of a car going like 30 or 40 miles an hour and breaking the window of it in the process. Jeez.
He hit that thing hard. I'm surprised that he was able to get up from that. That was rough. That was a rough bump for sure.
And Amelia was like, went through freaking glass. He's like, I was trying to aim for the door.
I really hope they got that scene on the first shot.
Oh,
They didn't
man.
have to do that 7 times.
Yeah, dude. You know, I thank stuntmen and stunt women every single day.
Yeah, man. A lot of their work goes unappreciated.
Yeah. So I also love that line where he asks Amelia if the door in the quantum unfolding chamber is big enough to fit the peace cycle through it.
So funny, dude. Even in times of panic and emergencies, when he's got the authorities chasing after him, he's like, I want to take my bike, though, with me. This thing is really cool.
Yeah, dude, his mind is always somewhere bordering a level of unseriousness.
Yeah, honestly. He's got a lot of thoughts going through his head at one time.
For real. So Keith gets back, and Economos is tied up in the kitchen by Augie, the other version of Peacemaker's dad, and he's trying to lie his way through everything, and he's so bad at lying, man. And simultaneously, like, he's so impressed with the dad's ability to know when he's lying. And like, I think they just use Economos' social deficiencies in a very comedic way here, and they honestly like have been doing that the whole series. It's really like the performance by the actor who plays Economos. I forget his name. I apologize, but he's great.
Steve Agee. Yeah, or Steve Agee. Steve Agee. I think it's Agee.
Or Agee, maybe?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Steve
yeah,
Agee.
Yeah, man, he's been great. Every scene with him is really entertaining. I really like the stuff that he's been doing with his character. I like that they can kind of do both with his character. Like, he can be like the silly comedic relief, like a palate cleanser in a way from the serious stuff, but he can also like add to the seriousness and like play his part, you know?
Yeah, because he's also very book smart. He's very tech savvy, and that is the parts of him that are very important to a lot of people. So Augie and Keith are talking to the side, and Augie drops the hammer on Keith, telling him that his real brother is dead, despite everything they think, and it explains why they think his behavior has been so weird lately, along with Amelia's as well, because she wore pants, God forbid, and she didn't even know the band Halloween. There's no way she can be from this universe.
That's where I draw the line. If you don't know Halloween, there's something wrong with you. You know, get this guy in the loony bin. You know what I mean? I don't think you can say that anymore, but yeah, I love how that's like the tipping point for them. Like, that's the last straw. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, there's definitely something wrong here.
Yeah, she doesn't know Halloween. Goodbye.
Well, like, goodbye, Ween.
Yeah. And Augie also reveals back in the day, he secretly saw Peacemaker's real dad, the asshole version that was in the quantum unfolding chamber, to explain the validity that this Peacemaker is actually from a different universe, because there's also a different version of himself. There are doppelgangers. They do exist. And he also says a line here. The other version could have came from a world that was a dark version of ours. And that made me think of a line a couple episodes ago where Chris and Leota are contemplating the ramifications of him leaving his universe for Earth X, and he also called his world the Dark Dimension and Earth X the land of goodness and light, obviously before he knew that it was a Nazi universe. But I feel like there's a deliberate reason for both of them wording Earth X as the light universe and Peacemaker's original universe as the dark one. And the finale might reveal why that is the case.
Yeah, man, it totally could, and I hope it does. I hope we get a little more explanation on that. I thought that was a really interesting line too, even though at first it didn't even click with me that was a callback to that scene in the cabin until you had mentioned it to me and brought it up. But I thought it was interesting that both Chris and Augie came to the same conclusion about Earth X, obviously in different contexts and different circumstances. Like when Chris said what he said about Earth X possibly being the light dimension, he said that before knowing it was Earth X. You know, like he didn't even realize he didn't realize that it was a Nazi dimension. But Augie does know the evils of his world because he's like grown up with and benefited from them for most of his life. You know, but he still came to the conclusion that his universe or his dimension is better than the one that Chris comes from and the rest of the 11th Street kids come from. So I'm curious what he could have seen or what Chris's real dad could have shown him or told him in the QUC that could have made him feel that way. But yeah, I hope we get some more expansion on that in the last episode.
Yeah, and it also kind of dives into like a weird aspect of the way the human brain works where we can assume an entire universe is a certain way based on the actions of few people.
Yeah. And assuming that like that universe is the same way, like treats everybody the same way as it treats you, you know?
Yeah, because like Chris is wrong about that universe being the light and good universe in the same way that Augie is also wrong about our universe being the dark one, because both universes have the opposite to offer and neither of them are realizing that. Like Earth X has a lot of bad going on and Chris didn't realize that, and Augie doesn't obviously know the good that can also come from our universe despite the bad that lies within it.
Yeah, that is a really good point. They're making like quick judgment calls based on like kind of face value things that they notice, you know, without really like looking deeper into it. Yeah, that is a really good point.
Yeah, and also they're basing their opinions off of very out of control individuals as well.
Yeah. Pretty unhinged people. Yeah.
So Augie also reveals that they have to contain this whole thing right now, because if they don't, someone could find out that they have a quantum unfolding chamber in their house, and then everything that they have could be ruined. So it's interesting that both universes are having to hide their quantum unfolding chamber from the government.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting too. No matter what else is going on in your universe, if you have a quantum suitcase and if you have access to the quantum unfolding chamber, the government wants it, and the people in charge want that, and they don't want you to have it.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder how Earth X obtained access to the quantum unfolding chamber. Like, did they also kill the alien and steal it from them? Because I mean, if that's the case, they like, guys, run around with some security or something, or just leave it at home. You like, why are you running around with it? You know, like I want a bit more context on the alien race that was able to create this, and I'll make a bigger point about that in a later scene that kind of involves the quantum unfolding chamber. But anyway, before they leave, Augie also tells Keith that he's essentially always been the smart one and the level-headed one, which plays into an interrogation scene later on with the 11th Street kids and what's now the dejected duo rather than the top trio, RIP Peacekeeper.
Nice, I like that.
And as they're heading out, Eagly walks in, and Economos is telling Eagly, yo, kill them. Try and get me out of here. Kill them. You know, like, and Eagly's not listening. He just wants food, and he brings Economos a piece of string. So nice. Thank you, Eagly.
He just wants him to throw it. He wants to play fetch. But...
He's like, you thought I wanted a freaking string, Eagly? So good. And at the same time, like I said before, Judo Master reveals that he's just been in an empty house the whole time, and he brings Leota in to kind of like keep her safe, gave her a blanket because you remember she just jumped in the pool and he just saved her. And he followed Peacemaker into this universe, and since Peacemaker closed the door, they're both trapped in there, so that's why he's just been at the house. Also, I wonder how the owner of the other house is going to feel when they come back home to find 20 people dead in their backyard pool.
That is a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about
Okay.
that. Hopefully
Yeah.
they have cameras at their house.
Honestly, they should have cameras.
They,
But
they probably have cameras everywhere in that dimension, honestly.
it's either that or the exact opposite, because they feel so
Yeah.
safe and so confident that they're chilling that they might just like be ignorant.
Yeah, totally.
So Judo Master also reveals that this is not the first time he's killed people in a pool with a telephone wire. His previous record was 4, and now it's 20. I mean, hopefully he doesn't have to break the record anytime soon.
Yeah, he crushed that previous record.
Yeah. And a bit more justified this time around.
Yeah, I'd say so, for sure.
I also like how Judo Master, every time he runs into someone, he's like, do you remember that time you like really hurt me, like physically a lot?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's the second time this season alone that he's done it. First time when he first started helping out Argus, he was in the back of the truck with Economos, and he was like, "Hey, do you remember when you hit me with a tire iron over the back of my head?" And now that he's helping out Leota, now that he's got her say, "Hey, do you remember when you tased me like 1,000 times, don't you?" And I love how he's just like, he's got a great memory of that, of the people who have brought him harm, and he brings it up at the most, for him, the most appropriate times when he's helping them, because he's like, "Hey, just keep that in the back of your head. Just remember, just making sure you remember that."
Yeah, like I remember you did that, but I forgive you. Like he always
Yeah.
forgives them. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a commentary on war in general. You know, like those who are actually fighting the battle
Mm.
don't actually view their enemies as nearly as bad people as the people telling them to fight them are.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that is a good point.
I've been watching a lot of World War II stuff lately.
Hey, that's very very appropriate for this episode.
My God, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so while they're talking, Judo Master also spills the beans on the history of this universe to Leota because he was reading some of the available history books in the house. And Judo Master and Leota are going to wait till nightfall to sneak back into the mansion where the portal back home is, and they're going to play Scrabble instead of Scrabble to pass the time. I like all the like tiny little spelling differences and all of the products here.
Yeah, everything's just a little bit off. The Cheerios with the H too.
And the
art
cheat
department.
O's.
Yeah, the Cheetos. Yeah, I think the art department had a fun time probably designing some of the props.
Dude, that you're so right. Oh my
I,
God.
I want to see like the idea board that they have, like just all the different products that they were gonna rename with like different like little different things.
Dude, they should have done Oreos.
Oh, that would be so good. That would have been perfect. Hey, we got one more episode. There's still time. We could still get it.
Yeah, dude. So at the same time, nightfall is approaching, and Peacemaker and Amelia are riding on the highway on the peace cycle, and the cops are pulling up. And I'm pretty sure Amelia in this moment is feeling like this could be one of their last moments together. She doesn't know the last time she might see him again, if she might see him ever again. So she holds him tight, she grabs his hand, and they just have a nice moment of togetherness and appreciation for one another. And it's something that they both wanted to feel and have for a really long time. You know, Chris wanted it so bad, but Amelia didn't feel like she deserved it and was already feeling complicated about receiving it from specifically Chris in the first place. But now finally their intentions finally line up for like this 30 seconds.
Yeah, totally. This was it was really nice to see. They've kind of like been building this and like working towards this for like all season long with like the bickering and the fights that they've been getting into, and a lot of it probably changed with the conversation from the previous episode, because in that interrogation room where like Chris like really like lays out all his feelings and like confronts Amelia about it, and like plus considering everything that they went through, like fighting out the Argus people, like defending each other and trying to get out, like the relationship dynamic is changing a lot. You know, it was nice to see one of the first times they're actually getting close, you know?
Yeah, and it sucks that when they actually finally get close, like It's when things are going to be most up in the air.
Yeah, yeah,
So they eventually get completely cut off and they have to pull over and stop, and they're surrounded and they have pistols drawn on all fronts, and if they go any further or move, they're just going to get lit up. And then the dejected duo pull up and they make very quick work of these 15 cops. Cars blown up, cops mowed down. These guys are capable.
yeah. They took them out quick. They we haven't really seen like the full capacity of their power, I feel like, in this season yet. But I mean, this was a glimpse of it for sure.
Yeah, this was like a shot of vodka. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? A little taster, but a
yeah,
heavy a
yeah.
heavy taster.
Heavy taster for sure.
So they save Amelia and Peacemaker, but they take them hostage for questioning still because there are many things that they need to tell each other. And we finally cut back to our universe, and this is what I was talking about in regards to the theories and quantum unfolding chambers and stuff, because Rick Flag and Sasha Bordeaux go into a storage room and they find Lex Luthor's mobilized communications and research hub parked within it. And they bring in Lex Luthor's main guy in dimensional interconnectivity, Sidney Happerson, who played a pretty big role in the Superman movie. So it's super cool to see him here.
Yeah, yeah, this was really cool. This is a cool cameo. I enjoyed seeing him back on the screen, and I thought it was a funny concept that they just have I can't remember exactly what you said. There were a lot of words in the label of it.
The Mobilized Communications and Research Hub.
The Mobilized Communications and Research Hub being in the storage unit is really funny to me.
Oh, you know what? You can call it the M car.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That's a pretty good acronym.
That does work pretty well. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I thought that was really funny. And yeah, he's not just in here for like a goofy comedy cameo. He plays a big role in the plot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was a pretty big fan of his performance in the Superman movie. I like that over time he evolved to kind of denounce Lex Luthor's actions because the world could end potentially because of them, and he's just not caring at all. But he's here because he's going to help Rick Flag find Peacemaker's portal to the quantum unfolding chamber so they can finally arrest him. And initially, Sydney's apprehensive to help Flag, and Flag tells him, hey, you know, I could just go back to Lex and say that his boy didn't help us and that he let us all down. He's like, what? Whoa, hey, I was just asking a simple question. That's all. And then he proceeds to find it in 3 seconds.
Yeah, it did not take him very long to figure it out. They definitely came to the right guy, and he knew exactly what to do. I thought it was interesting that, like you mentioned, how in the Superman movie he got to the point where he was like kind of like pushing back to Lex, even to the point where like he was gonna like shut off the portal because it was like destroying the city too much. And then going here where Lex has a 2-century-long prison sentence. He's in prison for 265 years, and still he's like just terrified of him, and he's gonna do whatever he wants him to do, even if he can't touch him, because he just has there's layers to his power, you know, and his influence. He can find a way.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if he even found out in that moment that it was actually Lex who was like orchestrating all of this in the first place.
Yeah, totally could have been. Yeah, that makes sense.
So he finds it very quickly, and what's interesting about the quantum unfolding chamber in this aspect is the connection from our universe to the quantum unfolding chamber. It's clean, it's sustainable, and he makes a point of that because Lex Luthor's portal, they can only keep it open for a few minutes before risking tearing a literal hole in reality because it's not sustainable. Sydney describes it as having a wobble. So it's really interesting that whatever alien race or technology created the way to access the quantum unfolding chamber, they have it down. They know how to do it. So I really want to know a bit more about who created this technology. I mean, what if Brainiac created this technology?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, man. I think that would be super cool. That could be awesome.
You would need to be a pretty smart guy to do this.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we obviously they gave us a couple episodes back a flashback of how like Augie got to the quantum unfolding chamber and how he got the suitcase, but we still haven't gotten the origin of how it all got there, you know. And maybe that's because they don't even know how it all got there. They just stumbled upon it one day, which we saw. They just stumbled upon it one day, but yeah, like they've mentioned several times that the technology um, around the QUC is similar tech to the portal that Lex Luthor was using in Superman. It's just way more fine-tuned and more powerful because they can hold it, they can keep it for more than a couple minutes without having to worry about like starting a black hole, you know. So like, yeah, whoever is behind this technology has to be like a level above everybody else.
Yeah, and remember, Chris said he's grown up with it his whole life. I mean, who knows how long that thing has been sitting in that closet in his dad's house before they had to move it a couple times throughout this season. Like it had to have been open for decades. Like
Yeah,
that is a long time to keep a hole in reality open. I mean, obviously that they have to like put in the code and open it and go back and forth. So but like the connection is still there though. Like they just type in the code and then it opens. So like there's still a connection there. You know, like they don't have to like put the thing down, open it up, and then everything happens. Like they just put in a little code, it's already there. So
yeah,
they had to have been sustained for decades.
yeah, 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 100%. And I don't know if Lex knows about this yet. I don't think. Well, I don't know if he knows the exact capacity of or the potential of this, the QUC, and like everything that entails. But once he does find out about it, and once he finds out that it can do everything that he was trying to do but better, he
Mhm.
is going to try to get his hands on it himself. You know. So I mean, we keep saying it. There are many different ways they can go, and I think Brainiac would be a good way to set up Man of Tomorrow because we're pretty sure he's going to be the villain. We think he's going to be the villain.
I'm like
You know?
85% sure.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's either gonna be Brainiac or James Gunn released a script with a brain on the front of the cover just to mess with us, to throw us for a loop, you know?
I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, honestly, it's fair.
So we cut back to Leoto and Judo, and this is a quick little scene, but they're playing Scrabble. And Leota's trying to help Judo Master understand what about Peacemaker there is to appreciate. And I think she's just a really good friend because not only is she like trying to defend Peacemaker, but she's also like verbalizing to Judo Master that she's still trying to like say this in respect to him still saving her and also understanding that he doesn't like him and that like she gets that as well. So, you know, like she's able to always play both sides like very well.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, she's very like level-headed, you know. But she's like, I think I mentioned it in a previous episode. But she's like sort of the motherly figure of the group. I would describe her as, and I really enjoyed the scenes between Leota and Judo Master whenever they're on the screen together. And we finally got some more insight on Leota's relationship with Kia, who they haven't really mentioned for like a couple episodes. You know, there was the fight in like the first or second episode, and that was the last time that she was, I think, on screen. So um, I'm glad that we got a little bit of an update on that. And Judo Master like kind of challenges her a little bit. Leota's like talking about how Kia like can't accept her dreams, and Judo Master mentions, "Well, you told me that her dream was to open like a pet store with you. Is that something you can do? Do you want to do that with her? If no, then." Who's the one that can't accept the dreams? You know, who's the one in the wrong here? And I thought that was really interesting because it does like catch Leota a little off guard because she thought she was so in the right here. And I'm glad that we got to see this out of Leota because she has had a lot of really strong moments and scenes in this show, and a lot of the times she's the one who's like talking to other people and like setting them straight, and like her scene with Chris in the cabin talking about like where do they really belong. Same with when she had to like read the note to the other people that Chris wrote, to now like having her own blind spots being shown, that like she also has these weaknesses and these problems because nobody's perfect, you know, that you're gonna struggle with things regardless of how good you are in other areas.
Yeah, man. Great point. Yeah, totally. And I'm glad that her character is able to like bring up that aspects.
Yeah, totally. She's been one of my favorite characters all season.
Me too. So we cut back to what is probably the biggest moment in this entire episode, which is the questioning of Peacemaker and Amelia, and Economos is forced to be there. And Economos immediately apologizes for snitching, which is hilarious, but then he tries to play it off again like he's lying and he has no idea what's going on. Amelia's like, yeah, well played, John. Just shut up. Like, just there's no point anymore, man.
Yeah, just sit there and be quiet for a second, please. This the second time that John has pretended that he doesn't know Chris this season, by the way. He's, again, trying to convince people that he has no idea who this guy is because he keeps getting him in trouble.
Yeah, man, and we'll talk about that aspect of Chris later on, too.
Yeah.
But he's asking Peacemaker how he got here, and he just kind of runs through his POV of episode 1 and explains, when he saw Keith, I just couldn't leave. My brother died in my universe. I just wanted to know what it felt like to have a family. And I get that. I get that to a degree, but it went too far. It went way too far.
Yeah, it did.
And Augie then asks how he came across Peacekeeper, Earth X's variant of Chris that we're calling him. And he runs through that too. And really tried to run home with the fact that it was an accident and that he didn't want to kill him, but circumstances made him act in a way that caused the variant to die. And Keith obviously thinks that he's lying, but this part really like threw me through a loop and like was like probably one of the most standout parts of the whole episode. Augie telling him to keep his emotions in check and focus on the facts, and really being like probably one of the best mediators in a situation where I could understandably like see him just pulling out his gun and killing Chris right then and there.
Yeah, he was definitely the mediator of this scene. He was very reasonable, almost too reasonable considering the circumstances that he was in. I mean, like you're after finding out all of this like the same day, and then having to go like break the news to your son, and then also figure out what you're going to do from here. Like he surprisingly is keeping his cool very well.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And man, I'm usually really good with actor names, but today I am just terrible. So the actor that's playing Peacemaker's dad, he killed this episode. He did a phenomenal job kind of giving a performance that we wouldn't normally expect from his character.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a huge standout in this episode, and it was a very different like angle of he was playing a very different character than he has been playing and that he was playing in season 1. Robert Patrick is his name, actually, because I looked that up yesterday because of how good his performance was and how much I enjoyed his performance in this episode. Yeah, dude, he's been great.
Yeah, and he's been in a lot of amazing stuff too. Terminator, he was in X-Files for a little bit. Love X-Files.
Oh,
you
nice.
guys want to see? There it is. There it is. But yeah. So he asks Amelia, hey, how many came through with the door with you? And at the same time, the cops knock on the door because they want to search the place due to the violence that happened at Argus with Peacemaker, and the cops that were also killed because they think Peacemaker did all of it. And Augie again plays this situation like a freaking goat. He's so smart. He says, no warrant. Bye. Later. Get your warrant. My son's not here. I didn't say he's innocent. Get out of here. So they're slowly walking out, and we see Judo Master and Leota behind the bushes trying to find a way in. And both Adrians come up behind them and say hi. And Adrian's reaction to Judo Master is so funny. I hate this effing little guy. It's so funny.
So funny, dude. I love every time Adrian's on screen. It makes me happy. And also shout out to the whoever's the other guy in the suit, like whoever's under the other mask. It imitates Freddie Stroma's actions perfectly. He like looks very similar to Vigilante. Sometimes when they're on the screen together, you can't really tell who is who until like someone says something about their universe specifically that like shows that they're from somewhere else. But like, yeah, he was great too.
Yeah, a literal doppelganger.
Yeah.
So Leota calms them down, luckily, like she's been doing all season, and Adrian both Adrians, they want to kill the cops to get in the house, but Leota's like, hey, what if we snuck in? Here, we don't have to kill anybody yet. You're like, fine, whatever.
Boring.
So we cut back to Amelia, and she doesn't want to tell Augie how many are with her because, she thinks you guys just killed like innocent cops. Why, I still don't trust you, and we're in a Nazi universe. And Augie says, hey, the cops weren't innocent. You got to get that through your head right now. And Keith also asks if one of the people who came through with them was a black woman. And luckily, she got out in being Leota. But Augie was actually pissed at Keith for chasing after her, which, again, very surprised to see him have that stance on the situation.
Yeah, 100%. That very different from what we would expect from a character like him. He mentions like, I didn't raise you boys like that. So seemingly he's one of the reasonable people in this dimension out of not a lot of reasonable people, it seems like.
Yeah. Although Keith is more than fine killing Sons of Liberties. So
Keith's definitely more aggressive than Augie is. He's a little less level-headed. I mean, understandably, his brother, he just realized that his brother died, so like, yeah, but yeah, he was, I don't know the guy's name who plays Keith. I know he was in like The Office for a little bit, but yeah,
he's a good actor.
He's a great actor. He was also incredible in this, like in this episode. Like as soon as he found out that, like as soon as Augie broke the news to him about everything that's going on, he like flipped a switch in his character, and he just became extremely intense. He was staring Chris down for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, and just for name's sake, it's like he was Mr. Sinister.
Yeah.
So Augie says, all right, well, since they got out, we're just going to wait here until they get back. And then you guys are all leaving. You are never coming back. I'm changing the lock, which is a very easy send off. It's they got off clean, basically. And Keith, he hates that. He thinks they should not get off scot-free for what he thinks is Peacemaker killing his brother. And Augie says, come on, Keith. You knew how Chris was. And Keith is baffled at that. He's like, no, I don't. And he just thinks it's insane that Augie is on the opposite side of the coin here. And Augie says, like, I loved my son, but he was violent. He was out of control. And it's likely that he did put himself in this scenario. And again, I love my son, but I also believe that real Peacemaker over here did not intentionally try to kill him. I mean, talk about some emotional restraint.
Yeah, 100%. Just like accepting that Chris did it by accident. Like he mentions like several times, like just two, like you said, like very opposite reactions. Keith like almost like screaming at one point, he killed my brother, and Augie looking at him being like, well, it was an accident, like he's just somehow he's able to look at this not through the same emotional lens that Keith is looking through it right now.
Yeah, he's somehow able to literally see it for what it is.
Yeah.
So Amelia says, well, that's awfully generous for a Nazi. And he says, yo, don't call me that. Do not call me that. And I applaud you, Amelia, if you fight every single injustice that you see, but I do what I can with what's in front of me, and that's all I can do, and when I stand before God at some point, I want him to know that I did the best that I could. And then Adrian jumps through the window and stabs him in the neck 10 to 12 times.
Yeah. Wow. Talk about the character arc of Augie, dude. Like, I genuinely thought he was going to be the main villain of the show. Like when we got introduced to him, and especially after what happened with Economos. And it turns out that's not the case. He was trying to help them for better or for worse. And as soon as we learn this about Augie, and that he's not this terrible person that we assume he is, immediately it gets taken away with Vigilante thinking he's doing the right thing, And
Like when I
just
said I wanted vigilante killing people, like low key, this is not what I wanted.
not what you had in mind.
No,
Yeah,
like
yeah, man.
I was like Augie was growing on me, like, and I was, I was finally kind of like accepting Augie that like he really isn't a Nazi, but now our problems from our world are creating more problems in this one.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was like very prepared to dislike Augie's character because of like what I know about his character from season one, and like for him to be written in such a different, contrasting way from the other one I thought that was a very interesting choice, and I think that was very good.
Hmm.
Uh, but man, like immediately after, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, so Keith starts shooting, but then quickly stops to grab his dad and see if he's okay at all, or if they get any words out before he passes and dies. He went out quick, and Peacemaker and 11th Street Kids start running away, and both of the vigilantes are shooting and covering fire. And Peacemaker, just while he's running away, I mean, he's just emotionally ruined after this. I mean, he's looking at a painting of Augie. He's like, I cannot believe this man is dead, and probably because of me.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Even though he wasn't the one who like committed any violence in this scene at all, he still blames himself for it, and he feels like he's at fault for what's happening.
Yeah. And he's just struggling to like even make decisions as he's heading out the door. Like
He's disassociating. Yeah,
yeah, that's a good way to put it. So as he's gathering himself, trying to run out the door, Keith knows where Peacemaker is going to be behind the wall and lands right into him
yeah,
somehow. And he jetpacks him into the back of a wall, starts laying some shots into him, and then it gets really brutal from here. Eagly obviously starts defending Peacemaker, starts nipping at Keith's bald head, unfortunately, and in his face. Then Amelia does her classic chokehold move. Everyone else is holding back his arms, and then Vigilante starts stabbing Keith in the gut. And Peacemaker is just like sitting back against the wall, just like he's watching the worst nightmare he's ever seen in his whole life. And dude, this was a really hard watch for me because like I was really feeling for Peacemaker in this scene because like he's watching everyone he's defended his whole life killing his brother essentially. Even though it's another universe, it's still his brother, and he's already lost his brother once, and now he more or less has to lose his brother again this time. So Keith gets stabbed in the gut one more time, and then Peacemaker just yells out. He cries out, honestly. Like I don't want to say he yells, like he cries out, just stop. Like we just stop. And then he runs up to him and he's just looking him in the eye like I'm so sorry. Like what is wrong with all of us? What are we doing? How have we like what have we become?
yeah, yeah, man. This was so heavy, dude. Like it's an extremely traumatic moment for Chris, obviously. On top of like it's already bringing up the flashbacks of the other traumatic experience of him losing his brother the first time, which he blames himself for both of them. Even though he didn't really have much of a choice in either scenario. Like it was either his dad forcing him to do this, or his friends are literally holding back his brother, and it was such a hard watch, dude. Like he that the way that he screamed out like stop was I don't think I've ever heard someone like scream like that, or someone's voice like make that tone.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like it genuinely seemed like it was like him as a little boy again, just like just stop.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure he felt like a little boy in that situation too. Like there was nothing he could do. He was
Like
just
in the
helpless.
flashback when he was a kid, and
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
and he later goes on to say like, everything we touch, everything I do, like inadvertently, because of me, has got me to this point. and I'm responsible for all of this. And
Yeah.
again, he's holding his brother. He's saying, I'm so sorry. But, they got to go. They got to go, unfortunately. And he feels terrible, but he's got to go. And Amelia stays behind and asks Vigilante 2 for a gun so she can finish off Keith because she doesn't want Keith coming back after him. But the rest of the police force busts through the door, and Adrienne pushes her out of the door into the quantum unfolding chamber and closes it before she can finish off Keith. And Keith ends up surviving the encounter and will probably come back for Peacemaker.
Yeah. Yeah, almost definitely. He is like, if he wasn't motivated before, there is like, this is his number one priority now, is kill everybody that Peacemaker loves. Like, take out every single one of them, and he is going to be coming back with a vengeance for sure. Absolutely. I imagine that's going to be in the finale. I feel like it's probably going to be like that's going to be the big showdown with them. But I don't know what they're going to do in the finale. Like, I don't know how final of an encounter that's going to be. I don't know if Chris is going to kill Keith. I don't know if Chris is going to like live or die and they're just not going to do any more Peacemaker stuff, or if they're going to do a season 3, or if they want to like kill Keith now and tell the story about how that affects Chris going forward, or if they want to keep him alive and maybe he comes back in a later project where he's meeting up with Chris again and going up against him. Like, I don't know what. We're just gonna have to like wait and watch, I guess, because there's no way to really predict what's gonna happen next. But I am very intrigued.
Yeah, and it seemed like his injuries weren't life-threatening. He did get a couple stabs to the gut, but
Mm-hmm.
they weren't like it was just like an inserted shot. It wasn't like a moving around one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it could have missed some vital organs potentially. But I'm saying this because maybe he receives some enhancements and he can
Uh-huh.
become more of a threat. And there is a screenshot from trailer footage of Keith, or at least what seems to be Keith, going into a black hole at some point, or what seems to be a black hole. So we're definitely going to see Keith again. He's going to be involved in some sort of mayhem, and he's going to end up somewhere insane.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think that's a good idea that he might get some enhancements or something like that, because a couple episodes ago they introduced cyborgs to the DCU, so we know that is a possibility now. That's going to be on the mind. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got something like that for Keith. I think that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, he's absolutely going to be coming back for sure. Um, I just we'll have to see what happens in the finale, man. But
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I thought this was another really good episode. I just wish it was longer. you
Mhm.
know, like we mentioned at the beginning of the episode. But I thought it was a great episode. I'm really excited about the next one, despite having like no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, I have no idea either, and especially with how this episode ends. So everyone gets through the quantum unfolding chamber just in time to get back home to the main universe. Peacemaker closes the door to the quantum unfolding chamber, takes the quantum suitcase with him, and he surrenders himself. And not only does he surrender himself, he says, "Look, everybody here convinced me to give it up. They went back in there, convinced me to give it up. They're all in the clear. They're okay. They didn't do anything wrong." And Rick Flag is still, doesn't want to believe this initially. So he asks Judo Master, "Yo, Judo, is this your take?" He's like, "Yep." So cool that Judo Master kind of sees the bigger picture here. And, Chris is trying to only hold himself accountable, which honestly, let's be real, that's exactly what needs to happen right now.
Yeah, yeah, he does need to be held accountable, and Chris feels that way too.
Yeah.
He obviously feels like he's kind of like come to terms with where he's put himself and where he's at in his life right now. He's felt. I mean, we've seen a couple times in this season that he does feel that these bad things happening to him are like that he deserves it. He's not really like fighting it. He wasn't fighting back against Rick. He wasn't like like when he got captured by Argus, he there was nothing really he could do. And yeah, he's just he's come he's at peace with it in a way, you know, like,
He's
and
a peacemaker.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's making peace with his situation for sure.
Yeah, so he surrenders, and the episode ends with him and just him only in the back of a cop car, looking like he just lost, which he did. So that's it. Like, I don't like, nothing else is set up here outside of Keith wanting to get revenge.
Yeah,
And like, because Argus, they have the quantum suitcase, job's done, they have Peacemaker, like, you know. And
yeah,
also, how are they going to get back to our universe if there's no door open?
yeah. I was thinking about that too. Yeah, there's got to be some way where, like, I feel like they're definitely gonna merge the two dimensions again, or not. Like, they're gonna have stuff going on between people from both dimensions in the last episode, right? There's no way Keith isn't a part of the last episode, but it's kind of like, how does he get there? That is the question. And maybe that's where, I mean, that's probably how he ends up in the black hole. He's probably just like, um so like, he can't get into our Chris's original dimension, but he can still get to the QUC, right? Because his door isn't closed. So if he can get in there, then he'll probably be trying to, like, he'll be out for blood. He's trying to find Chris wherever he can, and maybe that's how he gets into the black hole, where he goes into the wrong dimension or he opens the wrong door, and something like that happens. Because I think I also saw an image of, like, spiders with a big skull in it as well.
I did see
You,
that.
you saw that?
Yes. Yeah.
We haven't seen that either. So I'm guessing both of those images are going to be in this last episode. I mean, they're going to have a lot of time with it. You know, it's going to be over 50 minutes, so it's going to be a very eventful last episode. There's probably not going to be a lot of downtime in the 54 minutes or however long it is.
Yeah. I'm very excited.
Me too, man.
So yeah, that has been today's episode of the Sci-Fi Zone, reviewing Peacemaker season 2, episode 7, the semi-finale. We're very excited for the finale. Next episode, we'll be covering some more Major League Baseball playoff stuff. But if you have any stuff that you want us to cover, we'll be happy to do it. Just leave it down in the comments. And like I mentioned before, we just released a Marvel Zombies review. If you guys want to check that out, check it out. Appreciate it. Any feedback or engagement, we're very thankful for. So thank you guys. This has been the Sci-Fi Zone. I'm Trent. This is CJ. Have a good one.